You are watching the Learn, Grow, Repeat with J. Marie and Laditeesh podcast channel. We hope that you are inspired, encouraged, and even entertained. Be sure to hit the like button, leave us a comment, and join our online tribe by hitting subscribe. Let's get into it.
Hey.
Episode 8.
I cannot believe it's episode 8.
This
came fast.
Episode 8. And episode 8 is actually the final episode, the wrap up.
Yes, the wrap up.
So that's been, to the public, it's been 8 weeks, but for us, it's been longer than that.
Yeah, it's definitely
longer than that.
Maybe a good 4 months now. We started doing it.
Girl, it's hard keeping track of these days and times, but to the public, it's been about 8 weeks. But for us, it's probably been about 4 months.
Yeah,
the planning and the everything that goes on behind the scenes that nobody knows about, the sweat, the labor, all that. So the not so glamorous stuff.
Yeah, definitely not so glamorous, and all the learning curves and learning all the different technologies but you know what? It was fun. I definitely enjoyed the process. There was some
there were some fun moments and there were not so fun moments.
Very not so fun moments. But yeah, it's definitely something for the books, right?
Every endeavor. It's definitely something for the books. And it's definitely something that I think definitely was unique in joining us two together. Again. So that was, at the end of the day, for me, the tangible, relationship is all that matters to me. So, so it was definitely that, we got to spend a lot of time, even if not in person, virtually, more time than we've done since probably when we were teenagers.
Yes. Yes, that's one of the things that I tend to express often is like, doing this podcast. Yes, it has been work. Yes, it has been fun. But the big part for me is the fact that I got to get to know the adult you. And when I say that, it's like, beyond the surface level, because, growing up, we were close. I know you don't think you were my favorite cousin, but you were, and you are. So to get to know you now as an adult, as a wife, as a mom, as, to know each other on that level is completely different compared to knowing the girl from Ferris and the girl from Marist High School. With the two different lifestyles, but still hung out, it's completely different, So, I'm very happy that I got to experience this with you.
I am too. And for that, I will be, forever grateful for. And, we both share an interest in wanting to do, something like this. And, I haven't been shy about explaining or expressing how this was definitely something that was definitely outside my comfort zone, because I am definitely the observer and the person who plays the background. Definitely that encourager, that person who would, push other people to the front. So to be behind the microphone with the spotlight in front of me was definitely something that I know personally was a stretch for me. And, I did it. And for
you did it, girl. Yeah, you did it.
It's a wrap. Let's start off by, I guess, sharing some of our favorite moments, topics. What were your favorite parts of season 1?
Season 1 was definitely, I would say, a calm roller coaster ride. When I say that, based off the topics, because it was like 1 minute we got so deep, it was low, like we was down there, it was heavy, and then you'll flip it and then it got light and fun again, and then we went back down again. Like it's just was a true roller coaster, and not in a negative way. I
like that analogy.
Yeah, so and it happened throughout the entire season. I think that our first episode, it was one of our, not even one of our longest episode. However, it was our longest episode, but it was our first one. You know, we were really, I feel like we were really, I know for me, I can speak. I know I was nervous. I didn't know what I was getting
Child,
into.
throw the whole episode away.
I cannot even listen to that episode no more. I am so like I that's an
Yeah.
episode I do not go back to. Like it's not one of those that I just want to be like, oh, let me see the
Mm-mm,
first one. Like I'll be like,
mm-mm,
oh, the first one.
mhm,
Ugh.
mhm,
No,
mhm, mhm. Yeah, no, throw the whole episode away. And
just get rid
again,
of it.
like I think you and I both, we are harder on ourselves than anybody else. So it's it's to be in this situation, putting yourself out there, hearing yourself speak and different things like that. Like it's cringy sometimes. But the first one, you got to start somewhere, and that was it. Boundaries we talked about.
What was your favorite episode?
Well, I in preparation actually for this, I did go back and listen to all of the episodes. And just from what I remember, I remember episode 5 being one of my favorite episodes.
Mine
Epi-
too.
so episode 5 was Single and Whole / Love and Marriage, and it was part 1. So that is one that I feel like behind the camera, the conversation was so good that it actually went really long. And I don't know if you remember, but the only reason why we stopped talking, like the conversation ended, was because there was a storm passing
Yes.
through Atlanta and my power went out in the middle of the podcast. Like, talk about, whoops. So
Uh-huh.
the only reason why that episode ended was because my power actually went out. But it was still enough in there that we were able to break it up into 2 parts. But that was just one that, in my opinion, provided the most depth out of all of our episodes because we had such different life experiences
Yeah.
and we viewed things differently, but we were still able to have a productive and constructive conversation about topics that we view differently. And for me, that was one of the episodes that provided way more depth than any other episode. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's my favorite episode too. But I also what I like is that, and I believe I said this in the first episode that although we are similar, we have a lot of differences
Mm-hmm.
in how we view things and differences in our experiences that go beyond the fact that I'm single and you're married.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it goes way
Mm-hmm.
beyond that, and I think that just from people talking to me about, what they heard on the podcast and giving their perspective, I think it's nice to know that there's someone who can relate to each of us
Mm-hmm.
in different scenarios. Like someone probably who is single and struggled in the dating world and know how these creeps are online dating was related to what I had to say,
Mm-hmm.
but then that same person could probably relate more to you on the Unpretty episode when
Mm-hmm.
you were talking about, being self-conscious about your butt. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't mean to say it all
I
brutal
mean,
and
like,
blunt,
for real, just bring that
but
back up again.
your butt. So it's I'm excited because this platform definitely did allow the both of us. I know I'm a little more outspoken than you are,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not used to speaking in front of people either. So I'm used to singing. Singing, give me a song, I'll sing, I'll dance, I'll perform in that way. But to be this vulnerable up front, like literally being conscious of what you say and slurring your words and girl,
The
Bob.
struggle,
Oh my
man.
goodness. And saying absolutely every 5 seconds. Oh my Lord Jesus.
Or you know what I mean? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I'm like, if I say that one more time,
Oh my goodness. And then laughing. Like I always felt like I said, you know what? now that I'm 35, I feel like I gotta grow up sometime. And I feel like we laughed at some of the most
Because we silly. Because we're
awkward,
silly.
awkward areas,
Because we're silly. And that's
Yeah.
okay. Laughter makes you live longer. It
Yes,
makes
and
you
make
live
you look younger because we sure enough don't look like we the
longer.
ages that we are. So,
Listen,
you know,
listen.
but
But I
it's fun.
now I will say too, I mentioned too that I watched the episodes in preparation for the wrap up. And surprisingly, like episode 2, where we discussed Superwoman syndrome,
Hmm.
like that was it was a deep one. But I
Hmm.
thought that, at least from my perspective, I thought that it was such a heart to heart in a real girl chat that, and to me, it was one that I think across the board, any female, could relate to something either of us, said in that episode, because, we're all out here trying to make it do what it do, and that one was a really, really good one.
That was a really
Superwoman
heavy,
syndrome.
it was a very heavy episode because I recall rewatching it and re-listening to it. And I'm like, wow, this was deep. It really didn't have much comic relief in it
No.
at all. So it was something that I believe, because it was a topic that hit home for both of us, um, it it was heavy. And even people who have reacted to that episode was like, I cried when I lived
Mhm,
because I understood, I
mhm.
felt that.
What were some, I got some growing pains or some of your not so favorite moments
I
recording the
would
podcast?
I have to say the editing.
Mhm,
Learning the editing. Oh gosh, the editing, Lord
mhm,
Jesus, that is a testament in
mhm,
itself. Okay.
mhm,
Because coming in, we did not know how to edit. So we had to learn.
mhm.
And it was interesting
It was
to
interesting.
say
We
the
definitely had
least.
a bumpy start. We definitely had a bumpy start, and we're not pros. Like, we're literally just two girls who wanted to do a podcast.
Hmm.
And YouTube and Google was our friend.
Join the conversation by emailing your questions to learngrow.repeat@gmail.com. Be a part of our online tribe by following the podcast on Facebook and Instagram at Learn.Grow.Repeat. Now let's get into the episode.
What were some, I got some growing pains or some of your not so favorite moments
I
recording the
would
podcast?
I have to say the editing.
Mhm,
Learning the editing. Oh gosh, the editing, Lord
mhm,
Jesus, that is a testament in itself. Okay.
mhm,
Because coming in, we did not know how to edit. So we had to learn.
mhm.
And it was interesting
It was
to
interesting.
say
We
the
definitely had
least.
a bumpy start. We definitely had a bumpy start, and we're not pros. Like, we're literally just two girls who wanted to do a podcast.
Hmm.
And YouTube and Google was our friend. And we tried to source out certain things, but it's just,
It
listen.
didn't work out. It didn't work out.
You know,
It didn't work out. And everything costs money. You know
everything
what I
costs
mean?
money, and we ain't child.
For real. Like we still whole mamas and all that, running
Bills gotta get
households
paid.
and
Yes.
bills
Mm-hmm.
and everything
Mm-hmm.
under the freaking sun.
Yeah.
So, but speaking of that, we do want y'all to know that the Learn, Grow, Repeat merchandise is still available.
Still up there.
Still up there waiting for you. We waiting.
And you can still get that Christmas delivery. Well, you know what? By the time they listen to this, Christmas is gonna be over. But it'll still be up there.
No,
It'll
it'll
still be
still
up
be
there.
Christmas. Christmas won't pass by the time this air.
I think so.
It won't pass, but it'll be the week of. So
And it
you
won't get
won't
there
get
in time.
they won't
But
get
you
it
still
by
can look
Christmas.
fresh. You can still look fresh. Get that Learn, Grow, Repeat merch.
Get that Learn, Grow,
Get that Learn,
Repeat
Grow, Repeat
merch.
merch. I would say for me, was the time management portion of it. The juggling, the scheduling of the post, and the accounts that talk together and didn't talk. Like, oh my god, that was really stressful,
It
really
was.
stressful. And then um, picking which days to post and the times to post, and always being, on.
Oh,
It was
the
just like,
hashtags. Oh my goodness. The hashtags, learning what hashtag was going to get the
mhm,
most attention and
mhm.
this and sharing it. And mind you, all while working a full-time
All while working and homeschooling.
homeschooling in the pandemic.
Yeah, yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
It was a lot. I wouldn't change it.
No, I wouldn't. I'm just saying it wasn't. That part wasn't fun.
It was not fun. It was stressful. It was like, you know what?
That
Let's
part
not
wasn't
even
fun.
do this. But it, yeah. And even like the
Mhm,
live was fun. I love
mhm,
doing the live.
mhm.
And it was, I was a little anxious about it, like leading up until we did
Yes,
it,
yes.
you know.
The leading up was definitely a nerve-wracking situation for me. But and I don't know where we get this from, but as soon as that red light action, listen, you got to be on.
You gotta be on. You
You
gotta
got to
be
be on.
ready.
Hmm.
You always gotta be on ready, and it was fun. That whole experience was fun behind the scenes, the photo shoots and everything that went into this, for it to be season one. I think we did a
I think so too.
phenomenal job coming out the gate. And really being proactive and strategic and
Mhm.
planning. And I think we did a phenomenal job.
I think so too. I really do. And like I said, that's the stuff that people don't see, but we know.
Yeah.
We know the sacrifice and the rearrangements that had to take place and the quick learning that had to take place. And no, I said this to you before we even got, on air, that I am thankful for this opportunity to do this with you. And it will be one that I will forever treasure. Treasure. I see me getting deep. Deep and sentimental.
There's
Being,
nothing wrong with that. You gotta
no,
get a little sentimental from time to time.
no, and that's truly my you know me, and
Yeah.
I don't say anything that I don't mean,
Hmm.
and I definitely do mean that. Um, but 2020 has definitely been a year. 2020 has been a year, and we are on the brink of 2021. So podcast aside, like, what are some things that you are looking forward to in 2021?
I am being prayerful in regards to what 2021 will hold
Mhm,
because I know 2019 wasn't a good year for me personally.
mhm,
So I see, how you see on Facebook, it shows your memories and things you've posted. And I was very vocal with that around this time of year last year about how I cannot wait to 2020
mhm,
because this year was rough for me, talking
mhm.
about 2019.
Right.
And now we're in 2020 where it has surpassed what I believed was rough in 2019. And so I'm honestly at a point where I don't even know what to expect, but
Mhm,
I'm going to just keep the positivity that I genuinely have and to expect great things because I don't know what is next
mhm,
for us as individuals, for us as a people, for just for us as a country. I don't know what's next, and honestly, I'm just going to keep positive and just trust that God has some great things in store for us because this year was a tough one. And just to see and experience from the deaths and everything we experience as a people, the
mhm,
injustices, it's
mhm,
a lot. And I can't even go on my timeline. It's starting again where
mhm,
you going on your timeline and you're seeing
mhm.
multiple people saying RIP to
RIP.
someone.
Mhm,
Like it had calmed down a little bit. Like you were still seeing it, but it wasn't as heavy as it was earlier in the year,
Mhm.
and it's starting again. And, I just want, all of us to really be proactive in our self-care and proactive and being conscious of our mental health, because it's been a trying year. So
Mhm.
2021, I can't even say I'm looking forward to it. I'm just hoping for better days.
Mhm. And I would have to echo that, in that 2019 was definitely one of the worst years of my life. And I say that because it was the year that I lost someone who was extremely close to me. My childhood best friend, left this earth in January of 2019. And when I tell you it totally derailed that entire year for me, it it was it was dark.
Mm-hmm.
It was dark to say the least. And yeah, it was just not a good place for me. So I was definitely looking forward to 2020. And though those around me, and like you said, on the timeline, just everything, it was a lot. 2020 was a lot.
It was.
But I do have to give honor and praise where praise is due, in that, God has truly looked out, for my family and and not just my core, but even those my extensions, like just, you and others who excuse me, that I speak with, how, our work wasn't interrupted. We were, though stressful, we were able to stay, at home and still, make a living. And even though our kids were, you know, doing school at home, we didn't have to send them out, and expose them to different things. So for those things, I am, grateful.
Grateful. Yeah.
But there was a lot of maneuvering and, like you said, mental checks that we had to, undergo in 2020. So for 2021, I'm hopeful too. I don't know at all
Mm-hmm.
what it's gonna look like, because I never thought we would be here,
Absolutely. And
but I'm just
who
hopeful.
knew that? Who knew?
Mhm,
Who knew
mhm,
we would be going through a global pandemic? Who would know the world was shut down? And the crazy part is it's starting again. The shutdowns and the curfews and that whole process of what March looked like, it's starting to look like now. And but there was some positives in 2020. You
mhm,
relocated. Um,
absolutely. Mhm,
that's a huge positive.
mhm.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you hit it when you said that we really have to be intentional, and just really those mental checks. And I think that's something that I am going to be proactive with in 2021. The podcast was definitely an eye opener for me, and kind of, um, catapulted some situations that internally that I know that I need to address. And we talked about, how important therapy is, and different things like that. And that is something that I am definitely, absolutely, positively going to explore in 2021. And my number one priority is going to be that spiritual development, that emotional and mental, development for me. So 2021 is going to be a year where I prioritize my mental health, and that's going to require putting some things aside,
Mm-hmm.
the podcast being one of them.
Mm-hmm.
The podcast being one of them. But again, forever grateful for the experience, and definitely looking forward to that development and that the freedom that comes when you prioritize, your prioritize you.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that we stressed throughout every episode that we have recorded. And I'm sad to hear you're not doing the podcast with me anymore. But again, you have to do what's best for you. You got to put you first. And that's something we've been stressing, not only to each other, but to the audience as well. So we got to practice what we're preaching.
Amen.
So if this is what's going to be best for you and your self-care and what's necessary for your self-growth, then you I got your back 100%.
Listen, and like this ain't gonna stop. Like, and I'll be totally transparent. Like, I truly enjoyed talking to my cousin.
Yes.
Talking to my
Yes.
cousin.
Yes. And the fact that technology, I love technology because, although you are thousands,
783,000.
Oh, so you ain't thousands, you hundreds.
No,
Okay.
780.
Hundreds of miles away, we can still make sure we see each other. It doesn't necessarily have to be on the phone, and we can, virtually connect and continue building on our relationship moving forward beyond the podcast. So sorry, y'all can't be all up in and through our conversations. But so this was good. This was a really great experience. Like, I'm so happy I can cross this off the bucket list. This has been accomplished.
For sure.
Stepped out on faith and followed directive, because that day when I woke up, I know it was God who told me to do this with you. And that's when I sent you the message. Mm-hmm. So it's a reason for everything. And the reason could be something that we didn't think it was, So listen, season 1. See, we one and done.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Like that. And listen, and like you said, we stepped out, and I think we put our best foot forward.
I think so too.
And yeah, man, 2021, I'm hopeful for all of us. Look, onward or upward. Where else we gonna go?
I'm going up the yard.
I do not like that song. Girl.
Oh, all right. So check y'all. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.